Hi everyone, this is Robin, and this is the last week this week for week 2. So last week, of course, was the first week of the semester, so we had a lot of getting started and getting organized activities, as well as dipping our toe into the content of leadership. You had several things that you read last week. Most of them were just to orient you with the course. So you read the syllabus, you read a bunch of the general course information that's at the top of the Moodle page, and then optionally I encouraged you to get started reading chapter 1. We are actually going to be using chapter 1 this week. Now in terms of assignments, it looks like you had a lot of assignments, but again, most of them were just part of the getting started business that we have to do every semester. So the first thing that you did was to take a pre-class survey. And again, the purpose of that pre-class survey was to give me a little bit of information that would help me tweak the class for this particular group of 40 students and make it as relevant as possible. Obviously, the class is the class. We're still going to cover everything that's in the objectives. But if we can tweak it up a little bit to make it more relevant and meet the needs of the people in class, why not? So I am in the process of analyzing that data, and I will have that posted on the week 2 framework no later than the end of the day on Monday. The other activity that you did was the expectations for the semester activity. I will also have the report out on that no later than the end of the day on Monday. I also asked you, if you did not already have a photo of yourself in Moodle, to go ahead and add that so that we can get one tiny little baby step closer to connecting with each other. You did course introductions and you responded to people in there as well. We are this week going to put you into small group learning teams, and those introductions will be a great resource for you to go back and learn a little more, refresh your memory on who the people are that are in your learning team. You also took that short 6-question, 3-point course information quiz, and you had your first weekly assignment. And your weekly assignment was to identify a leadership quote that was meaningful to you, and then you added that to the class document. And we're going to use that document as the basis for an exercise this week. In the forum, I had you talk about an influential leader in your life and why that leader was influential. And then you had 2 optional assignments. One is to review the assignment sheets for the rest of the semester. And the other one, and again, I really encourage you to do this, is your textbook comes with a lot of additional resources on the internet that support the textbook. So it's on the website for the textbook. And I really encourage you, as we go through the semester, to continue to take advantage of some of those resources to clarify things for you and to broaden and deepen your learning. All right, all of that was last week. Let's talk about what we're doing this week. So my explanation for this week is pretty brief because the activities are pretty straightforward. So the first thing you're going to do, if you haven't already done it, is to finish reading chapter 1. And then in terms of assignments, the first thing, as I mentioned, you are going to be in learning teams for this semester so that you can discuss the readings in a small group of 8 rather in a giant group of 40, which is how many people are in the class. You just get a much richer experience when you're talking with a smaller group of students. And you might stay with the same group through the whole semester. We might switch it up about halfway through the semester. So this week I want you to get to know your learning team. So you might, as I mentioned earlier, want to go ahead and look everybody up on the introductions form from last week, just to remind you who's on your team. You might want to optionally discuss your expectations as a discussion group. If you are going to review each other's assignments before you turn them in, you might want to talk about the timing for that. So those are all optional things that you might want to talk about with your group. And then you have 3 weekly assignments this week. So the first weekly, oh, did I skip it? Oh, I think my arrows are out of order. Okay, number 2. The first weekly assignment number 1, is leadership quote analysis. So basically what you're going to do is go back to the leadership quote sheet that we completed together as a class last week, and you're going to read the leadership quotes, and you're going to read why they're important to people, do a little bit of analysis, and then you're going to use that as your main discussion forum for this week. So there's more instructions in the framework. Your initial post will be due by Wednesday. Your minimum of 2 responses to your peers in your new learning team will be due no later than Sunday. All right, there's an arrow. All right, weekly assignment number 2. Inside your chapter 1 reading is a conceptualizing leadership questionnaire. So I'm going to ask you to complete that questionnaire, and you are going to make an original post by the end of the day on Sunday. Responses are encouraged but not required for this discussion post. So for weekly assignment number 1, you post and have responses. Weekly assignment number 2, you post by the end of, no later than the end of the week. And responses are encouraged but not required. And then finally, weekly assignment number 3, you're going to draft your leadership definition. So we are going to be working on crafting your leadership definition throughout this semester. As you know, you have an assignment at the end of the semester where you're going to share your leadership definition as well as your philosophy of leadership, and you're going to describe the main leadership theories that we cover this semester. But I find it's really useful for students to start their leadership definition now and to continue to modify it as you move through the semester, rather than waiting till the end of the semester to just, boom, create a definition of leadership. So the question is, what is leadership? And so for this weekly assignment, this is just for you to get started on what you're going to need to do, work on throughout this semester. So I did create a forum discussion area for it, but posting is optional. It's a great idea to post it because I think you can get some interesting feedback and discussion going from other people in your group, but it is not required. It is optional. So again, we have 3 weekly assignments. Weekly assignment number 1, post by Wednesday, minimum of 2 responses by Sunday. Weekly assignment number 2, initial post by Sunday, responses are encouraged but not required. And weekly assignment number 3, posting is encouraged but optional. And so then number 5, the forum discussions that, that's what your forum discussions are. So there's one forum for weekly assignment 1, there's one forum for weekly assignment 2, and there's one forum for the optional weekly assignment number 3. I feel like I have made this way more complicated in my description than it actually is. So if you have questions on any of that, be sure to let Julia and I know. Otherwise, we will see you online.